If you're like me, you grew up making silly videos with your friends that kind of make your skin crawl when you see them now. And now it's time for your first real short film. In my mind, there's two things that make a real short film, and that is dedicated production value and casting. People who can actually act the story of your film, as well as a cool and interesting place where your film can take place. Now we're going to get into that in a second about how to actually find crew, locations, and cast to be in your short film. But ultimately, you have to understand that it's going to cost something. Maybe not a lot, but something. I made my short film Find Your Bunch 5 years ago for a total of $500. And I think that's a great number for somebody wanting to make their first serious short film. This is straight up shorty got low budget in the world of filmmaking. But if $500 scares you and you literally have nothing, I do have an idea for you. Now, Find Your Bunch was a great collaboration of some really talented people. We had great actors, we had a pretty cool location, and we had some really talented people behind the camera. My friend Jason Head shot this film for me, and he went on to be the cinematographer for films like Nefarious. Check out this video right here where I talked to Jason in a bathtub about filming Nefarious. Because the truth is, it doesn't really matter what camera you're shooting on or what lenses you have if the people performing in your project can't convey the emotion of the story. Finding crew is actually very similar to finding cast. You want to find people that want to put something unique on their reel. Maybe it's different, maybe it's operating in a new position. I know plenty of people that are looking to be DPs and get their feet wet doing that. Those are the type of people that you want to partner with where it can be a win-win, right? You want to give people the opportunity to make something that they're proud of to put on their reel, actors and crew included. And also you want to give people the opportunity to step into a new position. That can often be the leverage that you need in the relationship to actually make the thing happen. Trades are also a really great way to get people on board with your project. Doing work in exchange for their labor feels fair, and it can also lead to some great relationships. One of the ways I actually got my two actresses for my short film interviews is that I helped them edit their acting reels. And they were getting ready to graduate from conservatory and head out into the world and try to get an agent and all those things. I've also done some edit work for people that have provided camera equipment and offered my services on other projects for free in exchange for helping with mine. One of the ways I was actually able to get the gear for my short film Find Your Bunch is the company that I was working at was closed on the weekends, and I was able to work out a deal with the owner of the company to borrow the camera equipment on those days. Now, obviously, you're taking a massive risk because if something breaks, it's completely on you. But if people are reluctant to lend you their gear, get production insurance. It's not incredibly expensive, and it can open the door to a lot better quality for your behind the camera stuff. But ultimately, that's not as important. But honestly, the easiest way to get people to work on your project without compensation is food. Food forgives a lot of sins, and I'm not talking about pizza. Don't do pizza. Everybody gets so tired by the end of the day if you do pizza. A lot of people will put up with a pretty heavy production if you feed them well. Here's how I would spend that $500. First would be on food. Maybe the location serves food and they can do some sort of agreement with you in exchange for, some money. A friend of mine is a really talented chef and I paid her $50 and we had a big tray of food to work with. Making sure that everybody is well fed will maintain an amazing morale. Like if you have coffee and good food, people will show up and people will tell other people that you had coffee and good food. And that will be enticing.
You gotta stay energetic when you're on set. The best way to do that is
good nanas.
Good noodles, nanas.
The cast ultimately oftentimes leads to the success or failure of your project because they are the ones that carry the story. They're the ones that say the dialogue. They're the ones that emote with their face. They're the ones that move around the space to tell the story. So spend money on them. Treat them right. My wife is an actress, so she has let me know and reminded me so often about how much emotional energy is spent in the process of acting. It's very labor intensive and you have to have a lot of capacity and you have to treat yourself well during that period of time because it's emotionally taxing. If you're treating your actors right, you're paying them, here's an idea, you're giving them an IMDb credit, you are giving them a piece they can put in their reel that looks really good, they are going to be on board with it. If they are an actor who has some experience and they're a little bit outside of your price range, maybe throw in the idea that you'll submit the film to their local film festival. Submitting the film to a film festival in their hometown, the actor's hometown, restaurant that they can go to with their friends and family is often something that makes up for not being able to be paid, right? If the intent is that they're going to showcase their talents to a bunch of different people in the film community, then it's going to be worth it. The next thing I'd spend money on is location. Where is this film going to take place? What space will your actors occupy? Most businesses will honestly trade video products for time in their stores. If you have the ability to create some social media ads for them for free, take some stills that they can put on their website, any of those things are going to be trades that make sense with the business. But finding a good location is really important because you're not going to have the budget to create a location. So you got to find something that already exists. So you're going to want to spend money on that because it is worth it. I spent a total of $150 on my primary location in Find Your Bunch. On top of that, I paid an extra $50 and the owner of the restaurant was able to cater the entire shoot. The other part of Find Your Bunch was shot at my house at the time, so it was free, but I knew that the coffee shop scene needed to have a certain amount of production value. And the final thing I would spend money on is crew. Ultimately, you are going to have to do a lot more than what a traditional director does to bring this project to life. You're going to have to make the schedule. You're going to have to keep everybody on time. You're going to have to coordinate with the actors. You might have to pick up the actors, but that's okay because you're getting the most out of it. Now, you want experienced people behind the camera if you can get them, but you want to make sure that you're giving them value. Most of the time, people behind the camera are looking to move into new roles and get some time in the big chairs, the big department heads. So find someone who's a gaffer or a grip who wants to do camera work and have them DP your project. Spend time in your community figuring out what everybody wants to be doing, not just what they are doing, and see if you can work them into the project by giving them an opportunity in one of the department chairs. Then typically they will also know people who can jump on the project for free and just have a good time. But making sure that everybody can have fair credit and fair use of the project once it's done for their reel, to boost their business, whatever you want to call it, is going to be valuable to people behind the camera. You're like, well, Jack, that's great and all, but I don't have anything. How do I still do this? So here's what I would do. I would spend $35 on a microphone designed to attach to my phone to improve the audio. Audio is half the experience, and your phone audio is just not going to cut it by itself, frankly. Plus, most film festivals will reject your project if you don't have good audio. I've known people that have shot stuff on iPhones all the time, but had a professional sound person on set and got accepted to a lot of festivals. You can make your phone look pretty good if you do some lighting and do some interesting framing. Second, I would choose locations that are public, that you can go to without having to pay any sort of fee or having to organize any sort of like closed time, right? Because as soon as you close off a location, you have to pay a permitting fee, or you got to pay the owner to close the shop for a certain period of time, or you have to do a trade, which is going to take time. If you just film in a place that's public, you kind of solve a lot of those problems, and for free. If you have nothing to spend on your film, this is what I would advise. Tailor your story to fit a location that's public and available to go to at any time, because that is going to solve so many of your issues. And you're not going to have to worry about closing things down, paying an owner of a restaurant or a space to take the day off, lose customers. All that pressure is taken away. The second thing is do everything yourself. I would use your phone and film what you can the way you can and try to let the story stand out. I would take the locations that are free and available to you and reverse engineer them into a story. The disadvantage is that they're not controllable, right? You can't bring in a lot of lights, you can't bring in a lot of equipment. It has to be basically you and your cell phone. And honestly, sometimes that makes for better films. And the harsh truth is, if you're not willing to spend $35 for your short film, you might not be in the right business, because everybody spends money on their own projects all the time. I've been doing this 10 years. I still do that. I fund my own mini docs and passion projects, spec projects to try to pitch to larger investors, because it is all about creating the project. Like the days of you being a director reaching a certain space and just everybody calling you to direct their project kind of doesn't exist anymore. Because of digital technology and because anybody can make anything, everyone's making stuff. So the only way to gain attention is to make your own thing. But I figure most people have around $300 to $500 to spend on a short film. And in that budget range, you can make something that's really, really cool. All of this goes without saying. As the director, you're the captain of the ship. You're creating the atmosphere that everybody is working under. Don't be a tyrant. Don't be a perfectionist. People are giving you their time for free, and this project really primarily benefits you. So be humble, be grateful, and curate an atmosphere of thankfulness on set.